Okay, here we go. I'm live, testing this out again. Gonna try and have a, excuse me, a guest on. This is the first. So my philosophy is you research and then you just gotta dive in. If it works, it works. It doesn't, it doesn't. So that's the way it goes. We have one viewer. All right. Don't see anybody yet. Checking it out. Wait a minute. Nope. Anyway, while I'm waiting, I've been talking to a couple timers and nothing going on as far as races right now. The Ironman did a duathlon, and there were 22,000 people. Actually, well, it was a duathlon, it wasn't a tri, but there were 22,000 people that signed up for it. That's a nice little bag of change there at $40 or $30 a shot. So we're hoping that Georgia's opening up this Friday with a few things, businesses. We're opening up then Monday. They'll do a little bit more. I don't know what Florida's doing, but we'll see what happens. And just trying to get this straight. Okay. First time for a guest, so we're going to play it by ear. Nothing yet. Well, I'm going to go through a couple of banners thing. This one shows up. Triple Run virtual races. I'm doing that right now. Have some people that signed up for it. This one here that runs underneath is for where I do one-on-one coaching. This is another one that, let's see, here it goes. Wait a minute. Oh, I think we have it.
There I am.
Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
It worked.
Yay.
Well, you're at home. I thought you'd be at the college.
No. We are shut down completely.
Oh, that's right. That's right. What am I thinking of? Hold on.
Yep.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can hear you good.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna put the earphones in so I don't get any feedback. We'll see how that works.
Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, you're loud on those.
I'm loud anyway.
That's usually me. Okay. Let me see. There was something I had here, and I don't know where it is. Oh, I was going over the banners.
Yes.
And let me show you one. Has this is pretty neat. It has banners that I can put up. I can run ones across the bottom.
Yeah.
See that? This one I'm on Patreon.
Yeah.
All right. And this one, if I want to do you want to be a guest on our weekly meeting? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I also have, where is it? Okay, the branding up here. And then I can run a little video. I made this one. Here we go. I hope you can.
Yep, works good.
Did it go? Let me try this one.
It started.
You can see the virtual running, racing.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, it could be the internet connection, or like I told you before, I'm up here in the bootlegging area of the mountains up here in North Georgia. And if I
Yeah.
go outside, there's no internet till I have to drive 7 miles into the town. But
Wow.
anyway, we made it with you being on and all that stuff. And I could change the comments. I don't see anybody on, but I wanted to talk to you about, I talk about your plan B on the podcasting,
Mhm.
and you do the eBay. Now I haven't done eBay, and it seems a little tough to set up. Is it for you, or you've been doing it for a while, right?
Yep, I've been doing it for probably like 7 years or so. And once you get going, like I list primarily women's clothing. And once you get your initial item listed, you can just use your other items as a template. And then you can just recreate a listing. I would say in less than 2 minutes, I can create a listing. I currently have over 500 active items. I have an eBay store. So I just kind of let that run. And it's no work for me except for packaging up the items as they sell.
Well, the reason I'm bringing it up is because besides teaching at college, your official title is Dr. Satterfield. So I
Yes.
have to give you. I know you spent a lot of time getting that. I have my doctorate plus $2 will get you a cup of coffee. But anyway, you worked hard to get it. You've taught 15, is it 15 years?
16 years. 16
15 years. Okay. All right. And you're 32, right?
close. I'll be
Okay.
on Friday. Close. We'll say that.
Well, I was trying to,
Yeah.
I don't I knew how old you were. I don't guess women's ages because I screwed up big time once, and she was at a restaurant as a waitress. I said, "Do you have any grandchildren?" She goes, "No, I'm only 38."
Wow.
I know, wasn't it? So I don't do that anymore. I usually go low,
Yes.
but
Don't guess
on
ages or
eBay and what's that?
I said, do not guess a woman's age or weight. Both can get you in
That's
trouble.
true. That's true. That's true.
Yes.
I don't do that. But at some of the races, they would hold up the shirt and say, "How does this look on me?" And I
Yeah.
said, "Is that a trick question? I'm not going to answer that. Are you kidding me?"
No.
So. But also, full disclosure, you helped me with all the races, pretty much all the races, and big help. And we have a lot of fun with it. But I want to get back to the eBay. When you set it up, someone buys from you. Like, do you include the freight and everything?
Yes, the buyer has to pay the shipping, and the shipping has gone up pretty significantly. I'll generally charge about, well, I used to charge about $3.99 shipping, but now I think the minimum that you can ship something for is between $4.49, $4.99.
Right.
Great thing is the flat rate envelope. So if it's a heavier item, if it weighs more than 1 pound, the flat rate envelope is the route to go. But that is part of the charge to the buyer. And so you do guesstimate what the shipping is going to be. If it's pretty light, I'll say $4.49. If it's heavier, about $4.99. And then if you print your labels directly through PayPal, you can make a little bit extra on the shipping because they give you an eBay discount for printing through PayPal.
Well, does it take a couple of weeks for you to get paid once you sell
Instant.
the item?
Nope, it's
Instant? Really?
instant. Yep, yep. So each week I'll transfer money from my PayPal account into my checking account. I've got a separate checking account set up for eBay,
Wow.
and I'll just transfer the money out of PayPal into that account. No particular,
Wow.
leave it sitting in PayPal if I wanted to, but I just feel a little bit safer seeing it in the bank. But it's
Well,
instant
go ahead.
e-check. It's instant unless it's an e-check, and I generally don't accept e-checks. If you just have them pay through PayPal, it comes as an instant payment, and it's right there for
Uh-huh.
you. And they pay ahead of time, so the shipping, you're not paying anything out of pocket for that. When that instant payment comes through, it's already got the shipping included in that. And so I just print the label. It just takes that amount out of the PayPal, but it's already prepaid.
Wow, that's pretty good. Um, so you have quite a few items on there then, mostly women's items?
Mostly women's items. I generally sell what people give me. People just give me old clothes they're going to throw out or donate. And so there's very little cost out of pocket for me to list the items. Sometimes I'll go to yard sales, get something for maybe $1 and sell it for $4 or $5. So
Wow.
good profit. Yeah.
Is there more women's clothing that sells better than men's? Have you ever noticed anything like that?
I haven't personally had a lot of luck selling men's clothing. I do have some
Yeah.
listed. For some reason, women's tops in particular, it's kind of hard to fit pants over the internet. But women's tops are a very good seller. Bathing suits in season are a great seller. My husband sells electronics, so DVDs. He'll purchase a movie from Best Buy, like a DVD or a Blu-ray set, and mainly what he wants is that digital code, and he just plays them off the
Right.
computer, and then he'll sell the remaining DVDs and Blu-rays, and he'll make $60 or $70 off each DVD that he sells.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
crazy. He makes a lot more than the women's
And-
clothes selling his items. He does more big ticket items than I do.
yeah. Do you have two different sites?
Two
Do you
different
have
sites.
a,
Yeah, he
yeah.
has his site for electronics, and then I have my site for clothing.
Oh, that's pretty good. What, can I ask, how, did you give it a special name or just your name for the,
It is Pretty Plus is the name of it, because originally I would sell plus size women clothing. I would go into thrift stores and buy plus size clothing. I feel like that women don't have a lot of options on the market for plus size clothing, and that sold very well. Now I sell a lot of different things, not just the larger sizes, but it's called Pretty
oh,
Plus.
okay. Okay. Um, as we've been doing the races together, but the women, like for instance, on my podcast, 100% of the listeners are women.
Mhm.
Why? I don't know. I talk about a plan B, like you have. In other words, you have you're teaching as a full-time job, but you do this on the side. So that plan B is something to fall back on if your day job. And I know I'm a lot older than you, and I've had some screw ups where companies were bought out and you laid off. Marriott bought out a company I was working for, and they didn't even take one person. They were just buying the real estate. And right now, the way the situation is with the coronavirus, there's a lot of people that are not getting paid. And I bet you could probably, if you had to, I'm betting, you could ramp that up, that eBay account, if you really had to.
Yeah, right now things are selling like hotcakes. It's kind of seasonal. Generally speaking, my spring is not so good. Summer's really good, especially if I have bathing suits for sale. Fall is very good, back to school stuff. But generally, spring is not great. But I've just had a significant increase in sales. Every day
Wow.
I do 3 or 4 items, and then I just walk down to the mailbox and put them in the mailbox, and they take them right away. So it's very, very little work involved.
Well, the other thing is, and I don't know if you've gotten into this, is affiliate programs
Mhm.
where you push. Now, Amazon, I was doing that where you get a code for an item and then you put it on your Facebook page or Instagram. But
Mhm.
Amazon, Bezos, the billionaire, reduced the percentages from 8.4 down to 1%, and people are screaming. So they're not going to really push Amazon affiliates anymore. But there's one for like you do lady stuff like
Mhm.
Fabletics. You can do an affiliate and post it, and then you can either sell it outright or you can promote it. Somebody buys it direct, and then you get a certain percent of the 30% or the $30 item. I don't know what the percentage is, but there's some high ticket items that pay like 15-20% on some affiliates. But I would imagine that your eBay is a little bit easier to deal with, and it's fast as far as the money to you, rather than waiting and waiting and posting and posting. Once you get
Mhm.
it posted on your website, is there any other way that you can promote it?
I could also promote it like through Facebook Marketplace, but I just let it sit in the eBay store. And since it's not any work for me to sit there, I could just wait, upwards of a year for an item to sell if I want to. And eventually, pretty much everything that I list will sell. Now, there are sites like Poshmark. for more upscale clothing, and I've had friends
Right.
that sold for much higher amounts on Poshmark. I just really haven't had the chance to get into that, but there's a lot of different ways to sell secondhand clothing online. Just stuff you have laying around the house.
Are you familiar with Etsy?
Yeah,
ETSY?
yeah, yes.
Have you ever reviewed Etsy?
I have not. I have not.
Uh, I've looked at it, but it's another place. I guess it's kind of like a mini Shopify where you can put your arts and crafts. You can either buy from people or put it on, get a website of your own, and
Mhm,
naturally they take a certain percentage. Now, eBay takes a percentage from you for selling it.
mhm. They do. And then that percentage with an eBay store, because I have so many items, it's more economical for me to run an actual store. And what that does is that consolidates all my items into one location. So if
Uh-huh.
someone buys an item, it says you might also consider this item, and it lists all my other items. All 500 items are listed out there, and then they give you a much better deal, maybe like
Right.
19.95 a month. You get free listing, get bigger discounts on shipping if you consolidate anything into a store. I didn't have a store until like 2 years ago. And then just that quantity of items, it just seemed logical to move into a store. And again, that's no
Now,
my part. It just is something that eBay does and links all those items together for the buyer.
do you have a special setup? I guess you have to take a picture of it, and sometimes it's a little, I don't know what kind of camera, or you just use your phone, or
Just
is
my
the
phone.
picture
Yep.
just a phone?
Just the phone. And then I have in my bathroom a mannequin that I hang from the shower curtain. And so I just put all the clothing on there. Now, a lot of people would just put items on their bed and photograph.
Oh, okay. All right.
I
So you don't lay it down flat. You have a
no, I
mannequin?
have a
Oh,
mannequin. Yep, I have a mannequin for all the women's clothing. Men's clothing, I do just hang from the shower curtains. I think it looks better hanging up than it does
yeah.
hang down. You can see it better.
The
But
men probably don't care anyway.
they don't care. They don't care. They kind of just put it on the floor. I've seen them on the floor on day. It's just it looks better for women to kind of dress it up.
Yeah. I
And then I,
know when you go to like Leslie Jordan, other ones, they always have it on a mannequin instead of
yeah,
flat.
yeah.
It's pretty good. But that's probably the way to go. Now, do you do a lot with t-shirts or anything?
T-shirts don't sell as well. I think women like professional clothing the best or
Oh,
clothing. So if it's a tech shirt, like a Nike shirt, those sell very well. But a lot of women want professional looking clothing just from the comfort of their home. And then I sell to all kinds of locations like Alaska and Hawaii. And I think that people
wow.
don't want to, or they don't have access to shopping in those places. And so therefore it's much easier for them at the click of a fingertip to order online.
Yeah, at this time you could probably sell winter clothes to somebody in Alaska because I always joke they announce it's summertime, July 4th and July 6th. They say summer's over.
Yeah. And people buy
Yeah,
stuff year round. I have like Christmas items and people will just
really?
randomly buy in the middle of March a Christmas sweater.
Oh,
So
wow.
all year long.
I know there's especially women that go out for deals right after Christmas, lights and all that stuff. But
Mhm.
it's now you don't know like if it's a male or a female selling this, like your identity is
No,
not on there, right?
no. My username is just SW Satterfield, so people would not know if it was male or female selling it.
And then you have a percent, what's it called? Response or sales or 99 or 98
Rating. So I have
rating. That's it.
99.8. I've got over 5,000 ratings, and
Wow.
one neutral rating dropped me to 99.8%. And it was just something like the item needed to be washed again.
I I remember
5,000.
you posted on Facebook about this one ridiculous customer. That was
Yeah.
kind of funny.
And then most customers are very good. I've actually become friends with a couple on Facebook, some of my repeat customers, and most of them are very good. But every once in a while, you'll have someone that's negative. Not so much with me, but my husband with the electronics. People will claim that
Uh-huh.
these don't work, they're brand new. And typically eBay does side with the buyer. So buyers get preference, I think, over sellers, even longtime sellers. But I haven't run into many problems. If somebody's not happy, I'll just get them a refund because my feedback is more important than the cost of the item.
Yeah. Now, do you have any other sidelines that you do besides eBay?
Well, I noticed my flute behind me is in the picture. After I do start teaching lessons. So I do teach in a school of music affiliated with my church, and I have about 8 private students, flute, saxophone, and clarinet. And with COVID, we've moved to Zoom instructions. I've been doing Zoom private lessons just over the internet.
Was the Zoom hard to figure out how to do it?
Not at all. And I have very little knowledge of technology, but easy, very easy to figure out. And then the
Well,
kids,
your husband. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
the kids know it already. They're having to do it for their schoolwork. So my private students know how to use Zoom, and it's very easy to use.
Well, what I've done on the research is YouTube. Okay.
Mhm.
So a lot of these, and some of the women have in Herbalife and so forth, and they do the fit, programs and all that stuff. And I said to a couple of them, I said, you have to be, or a couple I told you, I think I told you is you can't do it where the laundry's sitting out or where,
Yeah.
it's in, the kid runs out and jumps on top of you, that kind of stuff. But I've seen women that do yoga and these exercise things that get like a couple 100,000 views in 6 months.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know, but what YouTube, they put an ad on if you're bringing a lot of viewers in, they put an ad on and you get a portion of those ad revenues. And some of these people are making $8, $9, $50,000 a month. I mean, it's crazy, but they do a lot of work putting the YouTube together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's I don't know, like I think the eBay would be a lot easier to get on and do as a backup plan versus the YouTube, because I look at some of those YouTube and where they have the transitions and they have things coming in and subscribe and all kinds of
A lot.
bling on it. It's tough to do. At least I don't know how to do it. I'm learning a little bit, but my main thing is the podcast and then pushing the events, and that's what I wanted to switch over to.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to a couple of race directors on some are real pessimistic. Some of them don't think that anything's going to happen until after the year, and I'm hoping that it's not like that. I really think that some things are going to come about in the summer and pick up in the fall, and I think everybody, once they have an event to go to, it's going to be difficult. I think the small races are going to do better because the big ones are going to have a tough time rescheduling after they postponed it. It's not easy, and you know this, to reschedule where they're going to have 5,000 people in a city. You just don't do it overnight. So I'm hoping that the small races people will be really, ready to go and go to the small races because the big ones won't be around.
And that's a challenge because like the big races for this fall, Boston was supposed to be yesterday. And then now maybe Boston was earlier, but Boston was postponed to the fall. And that's when you have all the other big ones like Chicago and Berlin. But just today they canceled Berlin. And then
That's right, I heard.
And I'm supposed to be running Chicago Marathon, and they sent us an email today giving us the option to cancel. So I feel certain that Chicago's going to be canceled, and that's in October.
Wow, you really think that's going to be canceled then?
Yeah, and then there's a triathlon or world championships over in Europe, and there's rumor that that's going to be canceled. I qualified this year for the National Triathlon Championships in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and that's early August. I feel certain that's going to be canceled.
Wow.
I think
Now,
100 is in jeopardy.
I'm sorry, what?
I think anything over 100 participants is going to be in serious jeopardy, or anything in a big city is going to be in jeopardy.
Yeah. Well, I know. Go ahead.
It's a dilemma for race directors because they have to figure out, do we refund these people? Do we defer and lose everything from this year? And so I've got different race directors that are handling it differently. I had a race in Montana in June that canceled, and they're offering free deferrals plus a $50 credit towards another one of their races. That's very generous. And then other ones are just canceling and offering a virtual option. And virtual is kind of the way to go right now, because I don't think we're going to have a 2020 season. I think it's done.
Oh, I hope not, because I have stuff October, November, and then January. So I'm hoping.
Maybe November
But
and January should be good. I think 2021 is going to be good, but I think the fall is very risky at this point.
oh, I hope not. When was the Montana race? Is it that
It
past?
was June. It's the last weekend in June,
Oh,
and they've completely shut down. It was Glacier National Monument, and I think the National Park Service shut down everything. So there was a race in Yellowstone, Grand Teton, and all of those are shut down.
have you ever been out to Montana?
No, no. I'm
I
trying to do
haven't.
50 states, and so that was going to be about number 20, 23.
Wow. I've been to Montana. As a matter of fact, I would have said I would have carried your bags to go to Montana.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
beautiful out there.
Yep, yep.
But but I don't know. I hope that's not the case. I hope well, George is opening up some things. I think we mentioned on Friday and then
Not
Monday.
good.
It's
Not a wise
not.
decision.
Oh,
I'd say
we'll
that's a
see.
wise decision. Yeah.
What's Florida doing? Do you know offhand?
The governor is meeting with the task force as we speak, like this week. It doesn't have any medical doctors or personnel on it, which is somewhat worrisome. But we're shut down through the end of April, so that's next week. And then I'm not sure what's going to happen after that. Schools have
Uh,
closed for the year. Some of the larger universities are talking about shifting online for fall semester as well, which is disconcerting being a college teacher. But everything is shifted online. So it's great for me. I can do all my work from home, both for the college and eBay and my teaching on the instruments. But it's been difficult for a lot of people. That's why you do need the backup income.
yeah. Now, did the college have online set up previously, or did you have to create your own course online?
I had to create it. Yeah, we have
Oh,
learning management platforms, and so we have tools and different workshops, online workshops that we could use. But I'm in the process now of transitioning all 7 of my summer classes to online. So I'm recording 44 2-hour lectures and posting
oh,
online. So my voice, my throat is very weak from doing all that. It's a lot of work. People always said online seems easier from the teacher's perspective. It is not. It is not.
yeah. Once you get it set up, I've done online teaching, but there's different way. Well, I think Florida Virtual has it where you have to be synchronous with the student. You meet with the students once a week, something like that. And
Yes,
then
that's
there's tests and assignments, but there's not as much recorded video that they're to look at. So there's different formats, Moodle, and then there's WizIQ. There's all kinds of things. And what's his name? Khan Academy. He has
yes,
a lot
yes.
of videos on there that you can use for different classes and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff out there.
A lot of
And a
stuff.
lot of colleges, instead of building all these buildings and so forth, like the one down in Florida, I'm trying to think of the name. It's begins with a P, not Piedmont. It's right down there below Spring Hill. Shoot, I can't remember the name.
I
Well,
can't think
anyway,
of
they have Pasco, the Pasco College.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they have 2 campuses real close, and like I'm thinking, okay, but it's best to have a lot of online stuff because it's more expensive having all those brick buildings. And
Hmm.
that's what a lot of these, like Liberty College, University,
Yep.
they have a whole lot of students online. I mean, it's like they have expanded their university without building more campuses. So it's pretty good. So you think maybe the smaller races will do a little bit better?
There's challenging things. I've been doing some surveys with different race companies, and there's challenges. And a lot of them are mentioning the possibility of doing wave starts, like starting people in groups of 5 or
Right.
10. Now, that to me seems like a race director's worst nightmare, because what are you going to do about award ceremonies and things? So it's going to be really
Right.
difficult. And then just to regain the trust of runners, I think it's going to be really hard. One of the surveys that I completed, it asked, would you feel comfortable racing if you were forced to take your temperature at check-in? And if you were forced to wear gloves and mask, and all the volunteers had to wear gloves and masks, and there is no way I would participate in a race like that.
Yeah.
So, if we're not comfortable running open air, I run right now in a mask as I'm training, and that's just around my neighborhood, not around any other people.
Right.
But regaining the trust is going to be very difficult. Just making runners feel comfortable is something that race directors will have to address. And they were saying that at aid stations, that all of the items would have to be individually wrapped. You could not just hand a cup of water to runners anymore. There couldn't be any kind
Right.
of contact.
Well, I have that cupcake race June 21st in Atlanta at Piedmont Park. They haven't closed it down yet, and I'm supposed to hear from them shortly on what they're doing as far as races and stuff. But
Yeah.
I can guarantee you there are people all over the place down there in Piedmont Park, right in the center of Atlanta, that are out there sitting on the grass. Someone told me today that on Jacksonville on the beach, you're not allowed to sit down, have a cooler or anything. So
Yes.
like, so you just walk along the beach, I guess.
It's open for exercise. So you can walk, you can run, you can surf, but you're not supposed to sit down. And they have enforcement. They have police on the beach making sure people don't sit down and sunbathe.
Why? I don't get the sitting down thing. Why is that a problem?
I don't know. Social distancing. I think they just want it for exercise. And if you're sitting
Oh,
out exercising, you should be at home. That's the rationale.
yeah. Well, I don't know what Florida's going to do, but my wife said that if you're coming from Georgia into Florida,
Mhm.
that you're they're going to stop you, and I don't know how they could do that on 75.
Yeah,
They
they're
have
posting pictures of backups. They literally have the major interstates. Well, at the beginning of this, I'm not sure if it's still happening. And then they would tell you, if you were from New York or Louisiana in particular, that you had to self-isolate for 14 days. But how are you going to enforce that?
oh, so they don't stop your car or anything like that.
They stop your car.
Oh, they do?
They stop your car. I saw images, whether or not it's true or not, but stop your car, check your license, see where you're from, and if it's New York or Louisiana, they're saying you have to self quarantine. But I believe there's
Oh,
still people in the state. They're just telling them to self quarantine.
oh, wow. That's something. So how many of your races have been canceled that you already paid for?
See, the first one that was canceled, this one really hurt, was Kentucky. I was doing the Run the Bluegrass big race in Kentucky, and they canceled that one. And it was, I think, the 10th anniversary or something of that one. And then a triathlon in April, Kingsland, Georgia, the King's Tri, that was canceled. Canceled for the year, actually, not to 2021. And then Crystal River DRC, that first one is moved to October. Can't do that date. And then the one in Montana was canceled at the end of June. And then there was a small local race in Weeki Wachee, and that was canceled in May.
That was Aaron's, the Hernando Bar.
This was the Mermaid race. I think it was an inaugural race as part of the Big Hammock series. It was the last race in the Big Hammock
Oh,
series, and that one was canceled. And that would have been a pretty small race compared to the other ones.
wow,
So,
they had one. They had one all the way over there, the
yeah,
Mermaid.
I think it was. It might have been Wildwood, but it was not here in town, I know.
Well, I know
But
the one at Weeki Wachee
mhm,
that Aaron has in March was postponed, but I
mhm.
think it was pushed to June. So I don't, or May, I
Yeah,
don't know. So
yeah.
that could be it. That could be iffy again.
Yeah, I think everything in all of my races for March, April, May, June have been canceled. I don't think I had anything scheduled for July. So the next big one that I'm waiting on is the National Championships, Triathlon Championships in August. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be a no go. And it's very interesting because with triathlons, you race in these events to qualify for Kona, the top finishers qualify for Kona, and they're talking about how are you going to qualify for Kona this year if there's no
Right.
lines. And so there hasn't been an answer to that. My Ironman race, Ironman Augusta, I think that is late September. Pretty sure that will be called. And Ironman does not have a great deferral policy. I think you're out of luck. And even with race insurance, there's a clause in there that you are not refunded for a national pandemic. And so people that bought
Oh,
race insurance are out of luck too.
I know Run Sign Up has insurance,
Mhm.
and I don't notice. I didn't notice until a little while ago. They have a survey at the bottom, participant survey. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
Yeah, it's at the bottom, and I asked them. I said, "What's that for?" It looks like it's something new, and who gets to see that? And um, it didn't seem like it asked whether you did this race last year or if you've ever done the race. Well, if you're signing up, the survey's a little, stupid to have one because naturally you didn't do the race. But I don't know. We'll see. Everything's up in the air, and I know I'm up here with the bears and the
Yeah.
deer, and I've been hiking up the back hill, which was like, man, it's steep, and
Yeah.
strengthen my legs so I can go riding and stuff. But
Yeah.
you and I were talking about a summer series, and I've been talking to a couple other people in a virtual. I think I'm going to put that together, and I'll let you know.
Sounds good.
If no one knows, I run it by you for your stamp of
Yep.
approval.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Virtual
if you want,
now because nobody's able to do anything and people miss racing. And so virtuals are a very good way to go.
yeah, yeah. So I have people in a virtual. They can either post it on Strava, the club,
Mhm.
which you did, or they can go on Spring Hill and post it on there. There's a couple ways you can do it. And Run Sign has you can also post it under race results there. So there's a couple ways to do it. So,
Yeah.
and but we're gonna, as you know, we'll have the Adventure Coast series. That's why, which really doesn't start till November. So I got my fingers crossed on that one.
Yeah.
So those three. All right. Well, I know you have to go to class, right?
Yeah.
Don't you have a nice? Okay.
Yes.
All right. This went very well. This is my first, your first,
Yep. Yep.
and it's a couple more bells and whistles I can add to, but we'll do this again. And I want to thank you for
Yeah.
coming on. Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
All right.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.